These living on the streets and in the ghettos during daytime, they're visibly seen on the streets walking aimlessly, sometimes committing crime. Now, children living on city streets and in the ghettos in Uganda are mainly pushed there by unbearable conditions of poverty, homelessness, domestic violence and other circumstances like drug abuse.
Most of the street children are already sited in densely populated areas and are subjected to dangerous living conditions like failing to access basic health, violence and drug abuse. The rights of street children remain threatened by the public because they are inadequately supervised and protected by the concerned authorities.
We don't want to see this imbalance. We don't want to see these inequalities amongst Ugandans. We don't want to see a certain group of people being discriminated because of their social financial standing. And so we're trying to do our best. And so the Commission normally is doing a lot of work regarding children. It's doing a lot of work to see that every child who is on the streets is not on the streets. It's doing a lot of work to see that every child who is at home, who is facing challenges, we can find a way on how to help that child. Because we cut across.
The government rehabilitates and empowers those children rescued from streets as long as they cooperate and get organized in their vocational centers.
When they get on streets and they see life is very difficult on streets here, then when government comes and tells who wants to go back to their homes, some of them are willing and ready, and they are repatriated back to their homes. And sometimes they are taken to rehabilitation centers. We have so many rehabilitation centers in Entebbe, we have one in Mpigi. So government looks at, and we have many vocational training institutes.
City authorities have tried to protect these street children by unveiling the law that restricts the careless parents and guardians who expose such children to streets.
The law was officially unveiled because it went through all the processes, and officially now we are saying yes, we now have a law that is going to protect the children. And we are starting on the mechanisms of making sure that we sensitize the public about this law, because many people in Kampala do not know about the child protection ordinance that we have. So yes, we know children have their rights. Children have their, for example, these children that are on the streets, we know they are supposed to be in school. And as cases here, we have at least tried to train some of them. We know that these are children that are also supposed to be enjoying the love of their parents.
Despite the challenges associated with the street life, the initiative of vulnerable children and a community-based organization in partnership with Tell Story Foundation have tried to extend some help to these marginalized groups in order to improve their standards of living. They affirm that the circumstances that push these children on city streets are definitely beyond their control.
Kubanzikiriza nti waliwo abaana abadde ku street nga bayambiddwako abantu ab'enjawulo muzira kisa ne babazaayo ku masomero ne basoma naddala abapasitors abamu ne babazaayo ku masomero ne basoma ne bafuuka ab'omugaso mu ggwanga n'ebitongole ebyenjawulo tulinayo kye bayita emlisada muno mu Kampala Central era mu Mengo Parish tulina Maidel Mengo Youth Development Link abalina institution technical eziyamba abaana baneeno basobola okubateeka ne bayiga ebyemikono ne bayiga ebintu ebyenjawulo ne bayiga okubajja batwala mu gundi mu bitundu nga ababazi gye bali ne bayiga n'okubajja ne basobola okuba nga beebeezaawo era.
Through storytelling, we have managed to work with mainly marginalized groups of people, including children with autism, children with albinism, and now currently children living on the streets. So it's through storytelling that we have got to appreciate the beauty of our own lives as humans, and through storytelling we have encouraged people to speak up on the issues that are affecting them.
These street children and ghetto boys inevitably receive the word of God. This helps to shape their discipline and it keeps them hopeful.
You know, being on a street, it's like living in a jungle. You have to look for your own food. So some kids get bad behaviors, get bad morals. So in a way of reaching out to them, what I do is to tell them about God, to tell them about Jesus, to tell them about the Christian way of life. Because there could be another way of life, but there is another way of life, which is Jesus' way of life.
Delving deeper in my search, I find out that city authorities take off Kampala streets 100 street children on average per month. The question is, how can one guarantee the safety of these kids?
A big percentage, they are trafficked and brought here. So some of these children have been reunited with their families in Karamoja. Some of these children have been taken to homes for children. And currently there's also a home in a park for children that are taken off the streets. And of course KCC has, the home in a park is being manned by the Ministry of Gender. And KCC has been facilitating, maybe in terms of feeding, we have been supporting that way. So I cannot guarantee that these children are 100% safe.
The ones who are above 15 years are normally taken to vocational training schools so that they can learn something and be useful Ugandans. Then the ones who are below 15 years are normally taken back to schools. They are taken back to their families so that they are reunited back. And government is working very hard to see that our children live a desired proper life.
It is evident that street children go through a psychological dilemma due to hard situations they go through in their day-to-day life. The question remains, how can we turn the street children into a useful human capital of the nation? Ivan Tukundane in Kampala.
Thank you so much, Ivan Tukundane, for that wonderful story on street children, and we hope that KCCA still puts in a lot of effort with the Ministry of Gender to make sure that they get back to their parents, or at least the numbers get to decrease on the streets of Kampala.